Evolutionary Outlook on Life by Swami Ramanand. Chapter 6 Suffering. Suffering mars the joy of human life. What use on earth could it have in the evolutionary process? It is useless, one is inclined to think. Suffering is not in vain. It makes the joy of life sweeter than they would be otherwise. We know the value of a shower of rain after sweltering heat. Those who live in the plains can appreciate the hills, not so the hillmen. Growth of sensibility is not possible without contrast, and suffering provides a contrast to joy and happiness. Suffering is an indicator. It indicates that there is maladjustment somewhere. The seat of maladjustment is the seat of suffering. Disease indicates a maladjustment in the physical. It is the call of the prana for proper adjustment. It is a revolt of the system against the disturbing factors. It wants to throw out foreign matter. Those who understand disease in this light welcome it as the messenger of health. They follow its indication and give help in bringing about proper adjustment. Disease goes away as soon as proper adjustment takes place. There is physical suffering due to other reasons as well. Some are born sick. Some become invalids for life. What utility has disease in those cases? Suffering, in whatever way it comes, deepens our consciousness. Man comes to have a wider and more sober view of the world than he has otherwise. He learns to bow. I have seen haughty heads bowing down when they have lain helpless in sick beds. It is such a corrective. Prolonged sickness does not only overhaul the body, it overhauls the mind as well. In the sickbed, we learn the value of kindness. In the heat of strength, we run roughshod over others, not knowing the wounds we inflict and the pains we cause. We know them when we lie in bed, a picture of utter helplessness. Then we can appreciate the meaning of love and service. Then we know gentleness. Suffering teaches what no sermons or books can. It teaches what even prolonged meditations and worship cannot. It has a unique place in evolution. It gives balance and strength. When suffering comes, man tries his level best to escape it, but he cannot do so always. Sometimes he dodges it, but it comes again with a vengeance, and man is caught in its meshes. He has to suffer. Suffering, he knows that he can. The Lord who dispenses suffering supports him through it. This gives him strength. With this bitter experience to his credit, joys of life now cannot throw him off his feet as before. His inner being remembers the other bitter experience. It balances him in pleasure as well as pain. At last, he realizes that both types of experiences are ephemeral. Neither can be relied upon to stay. Hence, it is no use being mad for either. Emotional suffering is still intenser. The loss of a dear one cuts as no sword can. Our attachments and hopes lie at the root of emotional suffering. Suffering comes in the emotional sphere as an eye-opener towards truth. We suffer because we know not the truth of things. We would appropriate what in reality belongs to the Lord. We would have forever things which are transitory. It is a travesty of truth. Suffering knocks us out of our false hopes and attachments. It comes to liberate us from them. But for separation, who would know the strength of the cords which bind him down to objects and persons? But for failure and frustration, who could know the binding power of desire? Suffering is a friend in the emotional sphere. Receive it as a friend and carefully listen to the message it has for you. It has the message of truth and the call to liberation. O ye child of the Supreme, awaken to thy heritage. Shake off these attachments and hopes. They are keeping you bound to this earth and are the causes of suffering. Suffering in the mental sphere shakes the very foundations of personality. To be thrown upon earth from the skies without a parachute, what an experience it would be. From a position of honor, when one comes to ignominy, it is similar. When one's intellectual stays are shaken, one loses balance. We have attachments and desires in the mental world. Ego is the most dominant factor there. It gets hurt seriously. The longer it is, the intenser the pain. One feels as if lacerated in the vitals. Suffering indicates that the ego has to be outgrown as also attachments and desires. It is a helper in our evolution. It is a friend worthy of respect, not any enemy. It is the wisdom consciousness calling from beyond. Recognize it. Suffering always indicates that there is something wrong. There is a maladjustment. There is ignorance. It is a call for readjustment. Ignorant persons blame others for their sufferings. Those who understand accept the challenge of suffering and endeavor for proper adjustment. They aspire to grow beyond suffering forever. Suffering exists in evolution as long as it is needed. It exists no more when attachment, desire, and the ego have been transcended. Having outlived its utility, in accordance with the law of necessity, it quits. Suffering comes as His grace indeed. It comes to egg you on in evolution. Be not foolish to blame others. Aspire to grow beyond the necessity of it. The good student outgrows the utility of the rod. Jai Shri Ram.